Hey guys, welcome back. Stop, talk, and roll. We got myself, break down some jiu-jitsu rounds. We got myself and we got Chris, both in the black, but I have white shorts on, so that's how you'll be able to tell the difference between these two very handsome men. Starting off, so if you just watched my last episode, I went off on a rant on understanding grappling. So I'm going to be changing up kind of how I talk about these things. So initially, this is an interesting back and forth, because one of the things that I'm always looking for when I'm passing is inside control. Okay, so basically getting in between his knees here, right? Getting my legs in between his legs, and then looking to pass from there or control him from there. Chris loves playing, this outside position, this De La Hiva, which is good, or it's just, it lets me get inside control. Now, one of the things you can do against this hook, one of the things I like to do, and you'll see I'll do this here, is pressure forward into it. Okay, so, I don't move this leg too much, but I am driving. So I turn and I drive forward into Chris's leg, which pops this hook off and makes it very hard for him to put it back in without readjusting his body. And as he readjusts, I make some changes as well to make life hard. Okay, so again there, the fight for inside control. If I don't turn my body, right, all Chris is going to do is just take this leg out and put it right on the inside. And then he has inside control and I'm in trouble. Okay. So what I do is, without having to, move my foot around or anything, I'm just going to turn to the side and deny that. Okay. Now I threaten that other foot for a second, and I'm going to look to push that around and drive right back in inside control. There, another principle is keeping his back covered. Okay. So if Chris sets up, he's going to have a lot more ability to attack. Okay. So I don't want to give him that ability. It's a weird thing, because a lot of people do like to play off their back, which is not necessarily wrong, but he's not going to have as many options. He still has a ton, but he's not going to have as many options as he does when he's sitting. And he's not going to have as many threatening options when I'm standing and he's laying down. Does he have options? Absolutely. Right. That's why we play jiu-jitsu. That's why we have a guard, but they're limited. In the grand scheme of things, there's still a lot. So what I simply do is I have control. You can see in the mirror here, I have this grip on his leg. So I've created that connection, and I want to manage distance. And so does Chris. Look, he goes to move away and sit up and tries to break my grips. So I pull him back in. I pull his leg up, right? And that puts his back right back on the floor. I cover his back. Okay, I keep his back covered. In this case, it's with the floor, right? You got to use the floor to assist you. And we're both kind of laughing because, it was kind of on the spot kind of thing. And again, that inside control. Now, sometimes, right? So he's going to get that inside control. And he starts extending me away. Now, an option that I've been using to deal with this, if he's going to win the inside control, and this is really important to understand when you guys roll, is sometimes you need to concede that you're going to lose a specific little game, right? In this case, Chris was going to get inside control on me. He was going to beat me to that. And I have two options. I have many options, but the main two that I understand is I can either stand there and refight for inside control, which could be dangerous because Chris also has inside control, so he can start looking to destabilize me. So what that means is putting me on a hip, or putting me to my butt, or putting me in my hands very easily compared to what he would be able to do. Or what I've been doing is grabbing both legs kind of in a body lock, but instead of it being around the waist, it's around the legs initially, and sprawling out, as you'll see here. Okay? What this does is he still has that inside control. So I am conceding that part of the game. However, the good thing is for me is I've put his legs together so they act as like one big leg instead of two independent ones. And it makes it a lot harder for him to move me around. Can he move me around? Yes, but it is difficult. And what I can do from here is basically, depending on what side he goes, I can move. Now, from here, Chris puts me in a guillotine, and I don't mind that at all for this one reason, okay? If you get put into a guillotine and you're able to get to a pinning situation with your legs and your head on opposite sides of their body, you're relatively safe, and you can start attacking things on their neck because their shoulder will cover one half of their neck. So we have double closure, right? So closing on one side and closing on the other, double closure. His shoulder will act as the closure on one side, and then my arm, you'll see in a second, will act as a closure on the other side. And that technique, that solution to the problem, is more commonly known as a Von Flue choke, okay? Interesting thing happens on this attempt, though. So I look to get here. I beat the foot line, the knee line, the hip line. I get in front into a good pinning situation, and now I'm driving down with the Von Flue choke. Now, just like any good strangle, I want to eliminate space, create double control, double enclosure. I'm doing all these things, but you can't see, unfortunately, you can't see it here either, but Chris does something really nice. As he's in here, right, he takes his thumb, right, the meat of his thumb, and hooks into the side of my neck. So as I'm applying more pressure, he's actually getting the choke on me. It was a pretty creative solution. Now, I wasn't going to go out, but I was starting to get a little hazy. So I was like, okay, one of us has to give up. So I let his hand go. This puts me in a nice head and arm position anyway, so nothing wrong with that. And this is another really important thing, right? I'm isolating limbs now. All right, so I'm in a pinning situation, side control, otherwise known as, and I'm looking to isolate arms. So I'm looking to keep his elbow above his shoulder line. Chris, being a talented black belt, is able to get it back down, but I proceed to getting to a full mount situation, get his arm all the way up, and this is really embarrassing. What happens in a second, he manages to roll me over. Now, let me tell you, I can't remember the last time someone did that to me. That's it. That's the end of the sentence. I can't remember the last time someone did that to me. So I immediately start dying of laughter. But why did that happen? Okay, so here's the thing. When you start looking for these chokes, happens to me all the time. We're live, by the way, for those of you that aren't here. It happens all the time. This is why it happens, okay? And I'll show you. It's not surprising why this happened to me here, because I put myself in the situation. When you attack the neck, the arm, all these things, whatever you're doing, right? If you have to keep in mind your base, okay? My head, so here are all the things that were going against me, okay? So clearly, or maybe not clearly, I'm looking to enter into some chokes or get back exposure, okay? So I'm gonna threaten an arm triangle, so double enclosure with the shoulder and my arm, and if he defends correctly, I'll move on from there. One of the options is, sorry, my headset is charging, and I think it just made noises. Okay, yeah, there we go. I shouldn't do it again. I'm looking for double enclosure to choke him, and then if he turns, away from me to defend, I could take his back. All good things. One of the things that happens there in my attempt now is things that are going against me. My head is on this side, all right, so I can't use it as a post, right? So your head is a post. I can't use it as a post over here. My elbows are both getting narrow in relation to my body, right? So instead of being out here with good base, they're getting in close. Now, this isn't inherently wrong, because I do need to attack him, but I do need to account for that with my base, because he can take me over. And then the last thing is he's able to trap my leg. It's the classic UPA escape, right? The classic bump and roll technique. But because he created connections here, he created connections here, and my head happens to be over on this side, I can't stop him from taking me over. It's a simple reason why that happened. How do I correct for that in the future? I probably need to realign my hips a little bit. If I'm going to go for this, I might want to, instead of my base being kind of, this is where it gets weird with video, because we're in like a 3-dimensional kind of plane now instead of this 2-dimensional video. But you can kind of see that this knee is forward and this knee is back, right? So this is, if I draw this out, right, there are two different ones. This knee is further back. I cannot write with this program. That is terrible. Okay, that one's back. This one's in the front. The This is awful. I'll have to come up with a different one. All right, so this one's in the front. I would probably shift. So let me change colors here. I'd probably shift to get my back knee up over here and bring this one back. Simple little fix, but I would either that or I need to put my head on the other side, but probably not because my head's keeping this elbow tight. So probably just rotating my hips a little bit. So getting a different kind of perpendicular angle, maybe not even perpendicular, just slightly rotating my angle a little bit towards the front here. Oh, I lost a lot of viewers there. He didn't like all the writing. Excuse me. Let's keep going. And I get taken over. That's, and I'm laughing. Now, I don't like playing close guard, to be honest. So immediately, you would want your head away from the knee position. So would you want your head away from the knee in this position? So I think so. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. Now, here's the thing. My head has to be on this side because my head is what's trapping his arm. So you can see right now, it's my arm trapping his arm. And then I want to transfer over to my head. Now, here, I would want to take that arm out, and that would help me base as well. But I didn't take it out in time. Right? So if I get here, ideally my head's going to come all the way down. I want this basically on the floor, and I would remove this hand to base it out here. And as Chris goes to roll me, I could then swing my hand over here to act as a base as well. And that would give me a chance to readjust. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah. Yes, I think you're on the right track there. So close guard. And right back into inside control. Look for inside control. Chris disengages and we reset. So now I'm on the bottom. Now, these are little minor things, but they go a long way, right? So sticking with that, making connections, managing distance and destabilization. That first step, creating and maintaining connections. It's silly, but I've just created and maintained a connection. And now managing distance, I don't necessarily, in the last video, we saw Dan pull Will towards him. In this case, I bring myself towards Chris. I'm not going to be able to really move his leg right like this, right? But I can move myself in. So I come in. Chris elects to join too because we both want to play jiu-jitsu. I'm still in shock that he rolled me over. And look, still fighting for that inside position. Always looking for that inside position. Chris looked to kind of play with my heel there, which is why I turned out. We talked for a second. That's what that little jump was. And look, constantly fighting for inside control. Constantly fighting. Creating a big frame on his lat so he can't come in. And this lets me get on the inside here. Chris also wants to win that fight, right? All right, so I have one leg in, one leg out right now. Chris is threatening to take my back. So I turn him over and manage to convert the position and get my knees in, and I'm all right. So what I'm doing here, right? Like it's not like a technique that I'm doing. I'm just constantly thinking, don't let him get inside control. Don't let him beat my foot and my knee and my hip line, right? If he can't do those things, he can't get to a pinning scenario. He wants to get chest to chest or chest to back. I'm just not letting him get there. And then on the offensive side, look, same technique from before. Technique, I got to watch what I say. Same idea before, same connection from before. Sorry about the quality. I don't know why it's so bad. It should be in 4K. And then get underneath. All right. Come through. Looking for an ankle, which I have. I sit through. I sit my leg through. Defending my heel. Chris throws his over. Oh, very cool how he opened that. I like that. Pries the foot away. Yeah, and he's just in a better position than I am. He's got a cross. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, he's got a cross grip there and gets the ankle. Nice job. All right, again, fight for inside control. Always, always. You know, this changes with the gi on, guys. I don't know if I'll throw that out there. This does change with the gi on. So throw through. Try to grab the secondary leg. Could not get it. So one of the things, too, it's going to happen here in a second. I remember this from the scramble. One of the things I'm trying to do is split his legs. So as we get here, I'm looking to bring my knee in. You can see right here is my attempt. So I hook the shin, and I want to bring my knee right in the middle here. Okay? It's still trying to establish inside control. I'm still trying to split his legs so I can fight his legs away and get up to center mass, get up to his body. Okay? And so I'm able to turn it over in a second. Oh, I'm just screwing around with his foot. That's like not how you do a toe hold, but it's just letting me control his foot. Now he's got a nasty hook. He's got a really good toe hold, so I have to be careful. So I'm come through here. I grab the waist. I think start the fight up, and I think the round ends in a second. Able to get up. Look, he's creating distance. Frees his knees. That's huge. Now notice there's a lot to learn right there. I'm above. I want to stay above his knees. So immediately he creates a stiff arm here. He creates a wall, and is able to free his knees. Once he does that, he's pretty good. I got to win that fight again. I got to win that fight to beat the feet and beat the knees. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm still here. We're going to record some more episodes, but for this individual episode, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Send me in a round. We got somebody in the audience here that's going to send it around. If you want to send it around, check out the description below. That's how to reach out to me. I have 2 very fun ones coming up, and yeah. Oh, we have a, hold on. Interesting. Seems like in mount positions, getting flipped over, you want to be wide with as many points of contact on the floor, like a stool, narrow base. It depends because, okay, so I'm sorry. So the question, let me just say it succinctly real quick, and I'll go back to the mount. So the question is, what should your positioning be in mount to avoid getting swept over and with as many points of contact and whatnot? It really depends. So it depends on where you are in mount, right? If my hips are connected to his hips, like so I'm on top, my hips are connected to his hips right now. When he moves his hips, my body is going to respond to that. Okay? If I'm able to slide my body up or change my angle, right, it's going to impact how my body responds when his body responds. So if I'm and again, this is weird because I'm trying to like think of jiu-jitsu in a different way, but like classically, like let's think high mount. Let's say that I've gotten my hips all the way up onto their chest. My knees are right in their armpits, super high mount. He can bump and roll, and I put my head on the mat. He can bump and roll all he wants. Nothing's ever going to happen. He's never going to move me because my hips aren't connected to his hips. Now, if he was like the Hulk or just some like super, super strong, he'd be able to like potentially just stand up and I would respond that way because my hips are connected to his chest. But that's not realistically what's going to, that's not going to happen. So it's not necessarily so much about like the it's important, but like I would say it's more your body alignment and compared to their alignment and then adjusting accordingly. If I'm on their hips, I have to know that any movement they make with their hips is going to make me respond with them. So I have to be ready to turn sideways, right? I have to create an angle. I have to be ready for that. Once I get in super high mount, I don't have to worry about that as much. Your center versus theirs. Yeah. So like, I wish I had another video of it. So basically if my body was just all the way up, right? So on top, the top guy's all the way up. You can go try this later when you train today or whenever. Just get somebody in high mount, have somebody sit on your hips, right, in mount, and just hip bump. They're going to go flying. They're going to have to slap the mat so they don't get hit. They don't smash their face, but they're going to move. And then do the same thing and have them move all the way up, right? So like their thighs are like right up in your armpits and go to bump. You won't move because there's nothing connected to their hips. So to avoid that part, that's kind of what you need to do. It's not so much like the points of contact. It's more your body in relation to theirs. I don't know if that helps. But that's how I understand it. All right. Like and subscribe. Thank you.